Okay, hey guys, Bert here, Sunova Surfboards. Now, today we're talking about the NOVALOVA. How long ago did we come up with this? Look, I'm going to say my guess would be this board's probably about 5 years old now, and that's basically it. So, around about 12 to 15 years ago, started to see a change in longboarding. And back then, there was a lot more performance in longboarding, a lot more top to bottom surfing, a lot more surfing in the pocket, more helicopters, more kind of shortboard surfing with a blend of traditional. And then around about 10 years ago, I'd say, it really took a turn and longboarding really went in more of a traditional direction. And so, but myself, I sort of still like the performance boards. And I needed something that could help me nose ride better and so on. And so I started looking at this design as a combination of traditional longboarding, where you could really get some good solid nose time in, as well as getting back onto the tail and still having something that's going to perform. And so when I first created this board, that's kind of what I was thinking. And so as far as the rock is concerned, if you look at the front half, it's actually really flat, okay? And so when you walk onto the front half, it's just going to carry along quite nicely, not push any water, and really just carry as you walk on the nose. And then the back end of the board, it has a lot of rocker, okay? And so when you step onto the back end, it starts to really free up in the rocker. And then also, if you look at the outline, right, it's very parallel through here, and then it just starts to get a lot more curve back here. Like in the back third of the board, it's kind of like your typical performance board, okay, with the amount of curve that it has back here. So with the bottom of this board, we've set it up. It has as you see, it has quite a large nose area, and then through the nose, it has this concave, very fine, thin rail, and then the concave runs all the way through, almost to center. And what that does is with that concave, I'll do it this way, do some hand surfing. There's your wave, there's your concave. I'm pointing towards you. That concave wants to sit on the wave and lock in a bit better, has some purchase, right? So when you've walked up the nose, you're standing there, that concave sort of bites, locks in a bit more. As you run back through to the middle of the board, it actually has a rolled bottom. Now, when you're walking on the board, a rolled bottom is very smooth and cushioned to walk on. And so part of traditional longboarding is the amount of time you spend walking from the tail to the nose and back again, because you're looking for nose riding time, you're looking for turns off the tail, you're going to be spending a lot of time walking through the middle. Now, what I found was when I ran a concave in the middle of the board, as I walked, I found if I wasn't quite perfectly walking the stringer and I just touched the board a bit this way, I touched the board a bit that way, the board's all over the place. It was just a bit sensitive and uncomfortable to walk, because the concave, what it does is the inside rail engages, gets a bit of drag, wants to turn a bit, and then the outside rail, it's pushing water that way, so you just lean a bit and the board leans this way, lean a bit, board leans that way, so too much sensitivity. With a rolled bottom, it sounds counterintuitive, but it's actually the other way around. As you walk on it, the water releasing off the outside rail releases in that direction, pulls the board down. So as soon as you tilt the board one way, it doesn't really want to take off in that direction, almost wants to pull itself flat again. So a rolled bottom is very smooth to walk on, but if you run a rolled bottom out the tail, it's real squishy, doesn't have any drive, kind of wants to stick to the face. That's fine for more of a traditional longboard where you want to really slow it down off the tail. NOVALOVA, on the other hand, it has a bit of edge, and it's set up in such a way the tail flattens out again. So when you step onto the tail, it's really going to power through turns. So the general setup with the NOVALOVA is just that. Parallel, nice and straight up the front. So the rail, as you walk, the rail line really locks in, gives you good direction, good tracking. plenty of nose area so that it will still plane at low speed and carry on the nose. And then when the wave speed picks up and you get back on the tail, you've got all this rocker and outline curve to really swing the board around. So total package, it's a blend of performance longboarding, and it'll still allow you to do traditional stuff, but you're not sort of stuck with a board where you have to sort of only do one style of surfing. So it's a versatile longboard, bit of traditional, bit of performance. That's the NOVALOVA. You're going to love it.